Good evening, viewers. And this is Mzalendo. Welcome to Africa 24. And I am your host tonight. And it's been an exciting week in the political scene in Kenya. I will be diving deep into the current political situation in Kenya, exploring the various facets that shapes our nation's landscape. First, we will take a look at the current political landscape. We will discuss the major political parties, their leaders, and the recent elections that have significantly influenced the political dynamic. With this, I mean the elections of Rigiji and of William Ruto and Rigiji is part, and already you know that there is a rift between these two fellows. Now, next we can shift on the economic policies in Kenya, what is working and what is not working. Some of the economic policies in Kenya are not working, and that is why we have a lot of youth, so many youth going in the streets because of unemployment and a lot of borrowing from our development partners. The president is currently borrowing a lot. We don't see any major economic activity going on in the country, yet there is billions of shillings being poured into this country called Kenya. We will also address the social issues and governance. You look at the counties, what they are doing. A lot of money is being injected in the counties in the name of development, but none to show of it. What we see is the governors and the executive living a very affluent life, a lot of development on their side, personal development, things that will not help the county government. So we will into all these things. In addition, we will discuss the electoral reforms that are coming. There is a constitution with IBC coming very, very soon. We want also to look at why the two major political parties, namely UDA and ODM and WIPA, are the ones who are going to reform uh, the IBC. They are the ones who are going to select the IBC commissioner. Personally, at my personal level, as Zalendo, I feel that this is undemocratic. This is an infringement of the right of people to choose the kind of representation they want in this public office. Remember, these are public offices and they are independent. Once we allow the two major political parties to choose those people who are going to sit in IBC, that's already a problem. That is already a problem. It's like going in a match and you are playing in a league, and there are two major teams who are choosing the referees in that game. So I put it out to you Kenyans there whether there will be fair play when the two major parties choose the referee. And finally, we'll touch in the regional and international relationship. You remember Baba is also looking for this AUC position, and there are some countries that are not supporting his bid. We want to see how far he has reached with that particular bid with the AUC. So stay tuned to these topics. We will carry them one by one. Where we reach, will do part two maybe tomorrow. But for now, feel free to adjust and come in. Let's share. You can be in the comment section. You can also dive in with the link that I've shared so that we can come up here and we talk about our country because this is the most important decision that you can make as a Kenyan. So you come up here. I can see Mr. has already joined me here, and we are going to have a good discussion with Mr. Around. I believe that he will be able to open up the discussion with a lot of sense, especially when it comes to the issue of governance, the issue of the constitution, and what is happening with the refugees. So we have various topics, and I believe we are going to cover it. But this is a very informative session. I want it to last about very few minutes or hours, probably 1 hour, and we will dive into the major issue. Mr. Welcome to Africa 24, and tell us how you've been. Mr. Elem, can you hear me, my brother?
Yes, I can.
Yes, Mister, you've seen what is happening in our country. A lot of politics is going on. But first, I want us to, before we even get into the refugee issue, I want us to talk a bit about the inject political party that Morara has come up with. Remember, it was just released the other day. What do you think of the development in the political scene with this new party that is coming in, the inject a political party by Morara Kibas?
Um, I think I think the authorities. Thank you, Nikki Mzalendo. Thank you for creating this platform again for us to come here and hear our views. Um, I just wanted to come here and also share with you, even though I'm not very well conversant with the Inject political party. Maybe I can speak from a general perspective. Um, I think there is a saying somewhere that says when injustice becomes a law, then revolution becomes the solution. Uh, I think what we are seeing in the political spaces in Kenya is remarkable and is worrying and it's ecstatic on the other end because people are excited. People are warming up to changes. People are tired with William Samoei Ruto. People are tired with Gachagua narrative of impeachment. People are tired with the members they elected. And therefore, when they have given up, anyone who comes up with hope, they are going to work and listen and join hands. You've heard people say, Morara asked for our money to buy a vehicle and public address. We see it. He bought it and we can see it. Morara asked for money for our gas or fuel to from one part of the country to the other. We can see how our money is working, but we don't see how our money is working, especially once we donate it to people like William Samoei Ruto, who actually has nothing or has who have actually taken the route to loot the country. And therefore, people now want accountability more than ever. People want accountability. And Morara is the Messiah. Morara resonates with these people. And Morara, watch this space. Morara is becoming a darling of many. And you know the mistake they make? They arrested him,
Yeah,
thinking they are intimidating him. Little do they know that they are making him popular. They are making him popular and stronger. And he's gaining sympathy right from the young, the middle aged, and the old. And they are saying, he's only exposing what you're doing. Why are you arresting this person? I think it's about time. If I were William Ruto, I would have quit. You know, you and me supported William Ruto all the way. We gave him benefit of doubt.
yeah,
But you can attest today that he has let us down. And for that reason, if we are wise enough, we must also not continue blindly supporting him, but rather hold him accountable and ask him to be accountable in the dispenses of obligation and duties as needed. So the
yeah.
Inject Party might go. I don't remember if you remember how the Orange Party became very popular, you know?
Yeah.
So during there was circumstance around it and it became very popular. I think it was Gitobu Manyara who was involved at the time when there was someone who ran away with the the party,
Certificate.
yeah, party certificates, and then they had to
Certificate.
come up with the
You
orange.
see, you've got such a sharp memory. Remember the certificate that were somebody, I went to Gitobu Manyara who ran away with the certificate for Orange Democratic Movement. And
I
then
think
that should be divided into two. Uh,
yes, then we had the Orange Democratic Party and Orange something.
Kenya is full of drama. But what we are seeing, the young people are coming up and looking at the alternative. They are talking about economic reform. They are talking about how to tackle corruption. I see Morara tackling corruption head on. I was in one of the forums, and what we were discussing is that it's quite interesting to see these young people what they want to do for the country. It's quite a show. If you join one of those forums, you'll be impressed at what how people are willing to give to Morara. And for the first time, a political candidate is being given money by the people. This is something that has never been seen before. It is something that is unique. It is something that brings sanity into our politics. Yeah. Uh, you campaigned and remember how much money uh, you have to cough in order to get a seat. But here is a guy who once ran for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya, and the Kenyans out there are willing to give him money campaign. They have already bought for him a car, and he says that hii gari ni yenyu, kila kitu kiko hapa ni yenyu. Uh, it's a good show. It's a good show of solidarity, and we congratulate Morara for what he's doing. We in the diaspora will continue supporting such a movement because we have got a cause. We want integrity in our politics, and we must talk about it. I urge Morat to continue with that kind of spirit. Don't give up. You will be intimidated a lot because the political class and the Ruto's government is using a lot of force on these young people. The police brutality is just too much is unleashing the police on each and every voice. We no longer have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. What do you think, Mise? I mean, is this the guy that we supported the other day? What came? What changed with Ruto? What really changed? Now he's having a fight with Gashag, but which I think is just a smoke screen. What do you think came of this guy?
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe the people were right that we made a mistake to elect William Ruto. We made a mistake to give him the privilege, the benefit of doubt to lead this nation. Maybe
You
William
you
Ruto should have
you are looking at it as a
listened
mistake.
to the people and given them the chance.
Mhm.
What's
You are
that?
looking at
Say
the
that again.
you are saying that it is a mistake that the people of Kenya elected William Ruto. William Ruto is a smooth talker.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he had very good policies coming into 20 into the last general election, and I believe that he had got good ideas for the country. Whatever happened, God knows. We're joined here by Leo. Leo, you seem to be traveling. I don't know where you are going. Long time no see. Nowadays, you sneak in and you sneak out. What is happening?
Leo
No, I'm
seems to be
okay.
in
I'm
Uganda.
fine, thank you.
And
No,
his views have
yeah.
become very, very radical. It's kind of very, very confusing. Perhaps you need to tell us why you are against young people getting into leadership.
Why I'm against?
Young people getting into leadership. I mean, anybody who is
No,
trying to shake the establishment, you come out fighting very, very hard. I have seen you in
no, I'm
most
not.
of these
Uh, uh,
forums.
Actually, I'm not against young people getting into leadership, and the young people have been to leadership, and they'll still be into leadership. Even the leaders that we have today, are the ones that we say are not doing the right thing, were once young people, and they joined as young people. I'm just against people who are so dishonest. Like, when you're asking that question, you specifically wanted me to speak of one, Morara, which I don't believe can be a solution to the problem we're having currently, because it's part of the problem. I'm against people who initiate marriages. Then at the end of the day, when we warn them that these marriages are not going to work, then when they're having personal issues in these kind of marriages, they want now to involve us. I'm against young leaders who follow and maybe campaign for these crude leaders. Then after their interest is not served, then they want to come out to be messiahs or saviors. If you look at the problem we're having right now, I think the current president that we're having right now was once a deputy president, and there were people who were elected together. But when they had differences with the former president, people saw him as somebody who is going to save us, and that one has changed. So you look at the person in question. Morara was also once a sworn campaigner of William Ruto. But when things are not working on his side, then we still believe that he's the only person who is going to save us. So these are people who are not consistent. They started telling us they are leaderless, they are fearless, and they are partyless. Right now, they're in the process of forming the party. So the series continues, and you can easily predict what is going to happen next. So that is what I'm against. I'm against Zalendo. So don't maybe misquote me or
And
misunderstand.
I'm just wondering whether you are somebody who can change his mind when things are going wrong. Uh, you know, there is a famous saying that goes by, it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. When you see political parties that are not working for the people, would you still be in that political party? When you see a political party that is going against the rights of the same people who campaigned for that political party. We are not talking about individuals. We are talking about political parties that represent the views of each and every citizen. We are talking about economic reform. We are talking about jobs for the youth. So when you say that when you say that we somebody was probably in Kanu, let me give you an example of Kanu. We were probably in Kanu at one point. Then Kanu was not working for us, so we need to still stay in Kanu because Kanu is did not work for you, but there are people who still believe in Kanu, so you need to stay there. So I think that is a lazy kind of argument that you need maybe to think deeply. If political parties are not serving the interests of the people, then the people can resist or revolt against the political party. Remember one thing: all these political leaders, be it Raila, be it Masakarua, be it the people you are seeing in the political seat, they once belonged to KANU. They once were KANU members. They once were the other political movements that they belonged to. And they opted for an alternative. So when you say that if you are in ODM, then we ought to still remain in ODM. If it is not working, then you need to look for an alternative. That is my view. What is your position in that?
But Zalena, there's something that we need to understand. If you look at these people, the same very people that they claim to be opposing are the people who are behind them. They are the real people who are financing them. They are the people whose agenda they are trying to push. If you look at this thing that we call, I don't want to talk of the Gen Z because that was just a ploy that was used. The people behind Morara, you will see Martha Karua behind them. And if you don't see them physically, then the people who speak the same language. Look at this Wakili when he had the case. Who are the people who are there? If you look at the language that they are speaking and the language that the people who maybe caused all these problems are speaking, they are speaking the same thing. So don't you
that is
feel
where
that there is somebody who is using them? So they are just that good image. Like when you're making an advertisement, you look for some attractive image and put it there. So people will concentrate on the image and forget about the real product. So the products are hiding, but they
okay,
are just
okay.
financing some
Leo,
images.
you are right. Now that you are talking, you are making some sense. Wherever you are, do you think somebody in Atlanta, who you probably don't know, share the same sentiment with you? Do you think there are so many people who resonate with yourself, with the statement that you've just made? Yes, the answer is yes.
Sorry,
There are so many people you don't know. There are so many people you don't know who share the same vision and idea that you've just mentioned. So for Morara, there are so many people who share the same vision. If you see Martha Karua, you know Martha Karua's history. It's not that something that you don't know. It is something that you've known, that she's very resistant. She's anti-establishment. She is for the rule of the law. She's a lawyer. So whatever Morara is presenting out there resonates well with us. When you see other lawyers who are activists, I would say they are activists representing Morara. That is what they represent. Morara represents their views. It says it as they would have said it if they were in the political discourse. So for you to say that okay, these people are sponsored, I think Morara, when I've had this discussion with in some of the insiders in Morara's camp, and they tell me that I asked one simple question: how did Morara find himself here? Morara went out in his car one day, started narrating how Ruto was and he became popular. It was just by default. It was by default that he became who he is right now. So for you to say that there's some people behind him, there are Kenyans behind Morara. There are Kenyans who are really fighting hard and contributing money for it because they believe that the fight on corruption, uh, the government of the day cannot handle it. Oh, maybe you have got another view. How do you see Ruto's government handling corruption? How should they handle issues like corruption? Or why are you against somebody pointing out projects which are stalled? Why are you against that?
I think that's a good question, actually. And the real problem that we have in the country is not pointing at the corruption or showing us where corruption is. Of course, Kenyans, majority of Kenyans are aware of what is taking place. They are aware of some of the places there are some corrupt activities. The problem that we have in this country is not telling us where corruption is, but the problem, the solution is helping us to deal with that corruption, stopping the corruption. The same thing happened when Ruto was elected. Why did he have so many people behind him? Because he used to tell Kenyans their problems. He used to tell them that you see people, you are hustlers, this is your problem, you don't have houses. But now the problem is he's not able to give solution. So people normally fall into people who tell them and keep reminding them how poor they are, or you keep reminding us how corrupt we are without giving solutions. What Morara is doing is just reminding us the obvious that we know. Who doesn't know that police officers take bribes? Who doesn't know that there's some projects that money has been paid, like the Aurora and Kimwares, and nothing happened? So people know these things. People know these toll projects, but now which initiative is he taking? I would rather go for somebody like Okio Mtata who makes a step forward to go to court and challenge or have some solutions, even though he doesn't succeed, but he tries to make that. But reminding us of these problems, reminding us of these problems without doing anything is not helping us, telling us that you see, he barabara the other one. hii barabara imetengwa, but you're not making any move. Is really laughable, and it seemed to be some sort of comedy like things. That is the role of the media and such kind of things. And do you know these roles? So that is what I mean.
Yeah, you mentioned the media. The media has been a letdown. The mainstream media has not really emphasized on the corruption that is happening in Kenya. The role of the media is the fourth eye of the people of Kenya. That's why it's called the fourth estate. So when the media has failed, then there is a space and a loop. There is a space left there and a loophole for people to come in, people like Mumrana, now to inform the general public what is happening in the government. I strongly believe that me and you, where you didn't know some of these development projects that have been are stalled until Morara came in. So we know that there is corruption in government, but what is the government doing about corruption? We know that there is a body called EACC. What is that body doing? So the fight Morara is bringing to the doorstep of William Ruto, it is something that he has failed to tackle. And it is a good thing for him. For people who supported him, like myself, I think he has been a letdown. He ought to have taken the bait once the JMC came calling. He had got an opportunity to change things, but he didn't do it. Uh, let me invite my brother Mise, who has been listening on the background. Mise, uh, you had
Yeah, I want to add to what Leo is saying. I think what Leo says is very important that we pay attention. We have people who are using us as a platform of stepping to power. When they get to power, they don't do nothing. We have had young and vibrant leaders that we have admired, and over a period of time, they have let us down. Muhammad Ali is one of the a perfect example. He came up with a way of, investigative using his journalism investigative skills. He he unearthed a lot of things that were happening, and we admired him, and we even gave him the opportunity to go to the National Assembly and perhaps and unearth more. But since his arrival, he went and became toothless. Okay, we have had people like uh, uh, Babu, Babu Wino. We've had people like even KJ and many other young people who have been given the opportunity to go to leadership. I mean, what Leo raises is of concern to us. We even saw Samuel the other day posing for a photo with the people that he was challenging. And that tells you power corrupts. This is what we are trying to synthesize our people and anyone who desires to go to leadership to be sincere, to have a sincere desire. A sincere desire is to serve and represent the people who have chosen them to go there and dispense their obligation as needed. You can quickly agree with me. The narrative of Morara does not advocate to impeach William Ruto now. We have no time to wait to wait to 2027 so that we can impeach William Ruto in 2027. We want to impeach William Ruto now. The narrative of impeaching Gachagua should not be even a subject of discussion now. The subject of discussion should be impeaching William Ruto and his government to go home now. But what does Morara tell us? Morara is telling us, um, I need you to go get your voting cards, and in 2027, elect me as your president. I have shown you what is happening behind the curtain, but again, let us wait. Let us give them a chance to continue looting, and in 2027, I will start fixing these issues when I get to office. I mean, This is not. This is ridiculous, Bwana Mzalendo. People have advantage over ordinary citizens, and Morara is one of it. And we support his cause. I like the fact that he has brought to used social media to expose the government. This doesn't mean that we all don't know that there were stalled projects um, that the government has put out there. This doesn't mean that we don't know that corruption exists. Morara is not the first person who has come out and exposed the government. There are many other people, even the gentleman who exposed the scandal, who ran to UK. I forgot his name, the black tall guy, who also exposed, I think it was during Kibaki's time. So there are many people who have come out. Unfortunately, they use that circumstance. They would wink us. And guess what? Once they get to power, they forget about us. We are tired of being used. We need people who have genuine interests of serving the people. Morara should start changing his narrative. It's not too late. He should change his narrative and say William Ruto should go now. William Ruto should be impeached now, not in 2027. We have no time to wait until 2027. There are many Kenyans who are dying, many Kenyans who are languishing in poverty, many kids who have no education, many people who have no security, and which is supposed to be the responsibility of the government. Asking us to wait until 2027 is delaying the justice that the people should get. And Morara has his honor, just like William Ruto has his honor. William Ruto is not the final person. He also cartels who are manipulating him. You and me were the darling of William Ruto, but we are ashamed to even talk about William Ruto because he has let us down. You know, him with his brother Raila Amolo Odinga, together with the government. What do they call government of what? You know, last time it was
Lord
handshake.
of National Unity.
It's called the broadways.
Government of National Unity
Like
was during
Broadway,
Kibaki.
it's called Broadway. The Broadway government.
Yes, yes.
You know,
So
they
we are
said
tired.
Gachagua said they don't need
This
bread,
time,
they have Katilusu, and they chose the name of Broadways, which is a bread company.
yes. So these are people who have done nothing but ganging together to steal from the Kenyan people. We are tired. And Morara uh, is not going to be the first and the last. And let me tell you, Morara says he's a lawyer, correct? All right. How has he used the courts in holding? Because the courts is his battleground. He has a what is called competitive edge over you. How many motions has he brought to court? Ex parte motions in compelling the government, in compelling the institutions that are constitutionally mandated. How many cases as petitions has he brought in to court to make sure that the government is held accountable? How has he used his knowledge in influencing or pushing the government to behave itself? I mean, an illiterate person like Okia Omtata went to court several times and won many cases against the government. Here is a young man who is educated, who has gone through law school and is equipped. What has he done so that he can use the courts? We don't want him to use the public courts. We also want him to use the courts that are there, which is under the judiciary, which is a arm of government that also has separation of powers, has its own autonomy. What has he done with it? I can tell you, lawyers in Kenya are the most um, the qualified thieves that we have in the world, and they use their knowledge to steal and oppress people. These people deserve to be in jail, not in the court, in the corridors of courts. They deserve to be in jail.
Wow. you gave a very interesting analysis of people who have been whistleblowers before. The guy of, I think it was NSSF or NSSF scandal. He was a whistleblower, but I remember that he was not very political, and he ran away. He didn't face the government. He ran away, sought asylum in the UK, unlike Morara. So Morara is unique in this way. He is facing the government. He has highlighted the corruption in government and is ready to face the government. That is what he has come out strongly saying that, if it is a matter of death, I will die one day. But it's a matter of saying the truth. Then let us stand by the truth. So whether he's using it as a means of any kind of gain, but it is working for the people who are supporting it. It is working for the people who are looking for an alternative. At this point, Mise, we don't have any other alternative. The only fresh breath that is being brought out there is the one for Morara. But you bring in a very interesting point of view that Ruto should be impeached immediately. I think that is a tall order, being that for the parliament that is supposed to impeach William Ruto. He controls the entire parliament. Now that we have the government of national unity, there is nothing that you can take in that parliament and pass. So the issue of impeachment is not there. It's not there at all at all. The issue that we Kenyans are looking up to is civic education and informing our Kenyans about their rights and to choose the right leader come 2027. Um, that is my view. But moving forward, maybe Leo, you have got a different opinion about Morara's stand. Do you think, Leo, that it is the right time for Morara to vie for the presidency in 2027?
I think, Mzalendo, that is where we get it wrong when we start confusing presidency, leadership, and fame. That is why, if you look at our current National Assembly, that is the parliament, we are having more
Leo,
comedians.
you have two gadgets on? I think you have two gadgets on. You have
Sorry,
kind of an echo or something.
can you hear me?
But let me just okay, say something. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Okay
Yeah,
now.
I'm saying the problem is we normally confuse leadership and fame. That is why when you go to our National Assembly or in our parliament, there are more comedians than leaders. There are people who don't understand their roles. There are people who don't even know the role of an MP or the role of a senator. And why were they elected? They were elected simply because they were famous. Uh, People like Salasia, I'm sorry to say that, these were comedians. So the fact that somebody is famous does not warrant them to be president. The issue is, does he know what it takes to be president? Does he understand the role of the president? And is he able to perform the role of president? The role of the president is not to tell us where corruption is, or the role of the president is not to take us through a country's tour, telling us the stalled projects and such kind of things. So if we are going to elect Orara simply because he was able to identify the loopholes within the country's management, then we are missing it. Then the right position we need to give him is to head the anti-corruption commission, not to become the president. So I think that is a premature decision. He is not yet fit to become president because he's not shown us what it will take him when he becomes president to do. He's not proved to us that when we elect him as a president, he's mature enough, he understands some of the executive roles and things that will be able to change this country. Right now, the best job that we can give him, we can give him anti-corruption commission is there. We can make him the chairman of the anti-corruption commission that fits him, or he can be at the head of the government digital whatever whatever, so that he can be moving around and advise the government, or some remind the government he can take care of the government.
I think you're.
On some of
I
the
think
projects that have not been implemented, so that the
Leo,
government can be able to do that.
Leo, you have really belittled Morara, and Morara made it very, very clearly that he is not going for any other seat other than the presidency. He doesn't want anything else other than to be the president of the Republic of Kenya. I think it is good to be ambitious, and it's
Leo,
also not don't
I
limit
think
anybody.
I
And
think
did he tell
Mzalendo
us
Leo
what he's going to do?
Leo
And
is right.
does he
I
understand what
think
the president is going to do?
I think Leo is right. You know, to be honest, um, some jobs require experience. Okay, some jobs don't just because even me, I dream to become the president of the Republic of Kenya if it was easy. But by then, am I up to the task? And I can tell you, and thank you for mentioning Salasio. We had another lady called Toto from, I think, Bomet or Kericho there. You know, these young people have been given,
Where is he now?
have been given opportunities and they have squandered. I don't know why you want even to think that he be given to become a commissioner of ethics and anti-corruption. That is still, we can nominate him to work within that office, okay? But at the same time, the seat of the president is far reached process for him. He needs to learn. He needs to be in the political circle and know managing the country affairs for Morara is far fetched. You know, the other thing I wanted to say, Leo, we appreciate him coming out and exposing the government. But let it be known that he's not the first person to do so. Okay? The GNC, even without having any knowledge of the government, they exposed the government. They brought William to the X space. They raised pertinent issues relating corruption and many other issues. We have not bought the GNC's vehicles to go around, but because they are patriotic, they were compelled to compel the government of the day to do the right thing. Mzalendo, in United States, the Mzalendo, you might uh, um, mute me because he didn't say hi to me. I think he's doing something on the background that is uh, is distracting me. If you can mute Mzalendo, good. Now, look at the United States. When Joe Biden, when it came to the second term, the Democrats stood up and said, "We know we are Democrats, but we are not comfortable for you to go for the next term." Some of the donors of the Democrats said, "We will withdraw our support because we don't think you're fit to go to the next term." Joe Biden became a patriotic, reasonable, and nominated Kamala Harris, supported her to become the next presidential candidate. When can we have this patriotism? When can we be driven by patriotism to govern matters relating our country without expecting to be elevated to political offices? Must I be a politician in order to raise or expose matters governance? If I have been privileged, let me tell you, there's something called Code of Ethics for lawyers. Okay, Morara is a lawyer, isn't it? The Code of Professional Ethics states that as a professional ethics, as a lawyer, in private and in public, you must conduct yourself in a manner that does not bring disrepute to the crown or to the profession. Okay, now What am I saying? If Morara is a lawyer, educated, let him use his knowledge, necessarily not without necessarily ascending to power to the presidential office to change the governance style. How many people, how many youths has Morara empowered in terms of civic education? Even Kenya just needs civic education. We don't have civic education, right? How can we, and Leo, we can talk about when we were young, we used to see people going around for civic education during Moi's time. But now, civic education all of a sudden disappeared. So we support Morara, but we want to make sure that he's grounded, strong, and ready to go. For now, I feel he's not ready to go. Thank you.
Let me bring in Penny. Penny, you've had the sentiments of your brother, Mise, saying that Morara is not ready to go. Do you agree with him?
I normally don't Abarieno, Rio, Zalendo, Missy. I normally don't disagree with Missy, but this one I 100% disagree with him. There is no way. Yes, you're lawyers and everything, and there's a code of conduct. We understand that, but there's no way you can succeed in life unless you put your direction and very clearly state what you want. You can never succeed. So that if this gentleman, we are a third world country, and Missy, ukisema juu ya Joe Biden won the elections hands down in 1986. And guess what? One of the speeches that he gave, he had copied from Neil Kinnock, and he was number one. He had like 80% of the Democratic Party. But guess what? When they realized that he had copied somebody's speech, it's only Obama who came to collect him from the bush. He dropped down to zero. So that I'm giving you that example to use your example when you said Joe Biden. Yakwamba, right now, Leo, right now, this gentleman has the following of all the Kenyans. Guess what? Taure never went to anybody's.
That is inaccurate. Pen, that is inaccurate. Huh? He doesn't have the following of all Kenyans.
I support
at least okay. At least over 50%. At least over 50%.
We can only prove that when elections are done, then we have valid data.
Everything that you have said, Leo, has never been confirmed by any elections by anybody. I mean,
Penny,
how you gonna hold me to facts when you have not been speaking facts yourself?
Penny, Mr. Penny, we don't have any polls showing that 50% of Kenyans are following Morara.
Penny, with all due respect, Mise, Wakili, and Leo, when you are contributing, nobody interrupted you. I feel that you need to let Penny, who was bringing a very, very important point of Teure, who is a very young presidential candidate, execute his point. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that as of right now, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, Leo, Missy, I could be wrong. I admit that. But as we can see, we saw yesterday when he nearly stopped the whole of Nairobi, and he's only 29 years old. Nobody of that age, of that caliber, has done what this guy has done. And that's what I'm saying, that Taure, all these guys in Senegal that were out of jail with no other experience. He was just a lawyer. He's 41. He's older than you say Morara. But they didn't have any experience in as far as the government is concerned or administration. In Kenya, when I call home, huko Lisabu anasema, "Hey, onyago uchanaoneka tacharosi." Means the place where you get the water. We have had all the criticism. They are right and they are valid. But as of right now, when he had stated what he wanted to do And it seems that most people have accepted what he has to do. Some of us. That's why I disagree with you guys when I say that I disagree with BC, that I don't disagree with a lot because he speaks very intellectually. It is we have no examples in Africa. The example, okay, Ruto, that we thought he was a president, alitudanganya last time. He said, what do? We followed. Huyu Kenyatta, Abayo was a minister for a long time. Moi brought him. We have all these people that are prepared for being president. Have they got us anywhere better than where we are? No. We are worse off than where these guys, when Anyona them, when Shikoku them were fighting for the independence, open up the democratic process. These guys are now, who have more experience in government, they are closing up the political openness in our society. So that, yes, let us give him the accolades where he wants. Let us accept that he has not really done a lot of experience in work, but that he's accepted, but that he can speak the ideas of what people really can accommodate. And vile nani 2013 yule Mohamed Dida came along, and he been even more experienced in politicians. This guy will do the wonders. Na vile amesema, nimalizia hapo mzalendo, kwamba if he doesn't win 2017, 2027, he will be the vibrant opposition. And that's what we are lacking from the 80s, when Raila Odinga has eclipsed the part of the opposition, and when he loses the election, he moves into the government. And that is not the opposition. The opposition has to be there and has to be consistent as to what it is talking about. In as far as asking for president, some of us support him fully, but if he doesn't win, we'll accept. And there is nothing ya kwamba ataibiwa nini nini, vile Daniel Oginga Odinga says all the time. We will tell him no. If you accepted to go to the elections the way it is set up, where say Raila Odinga and Ruto will be the ones choosing the IBC, and you accept to run under that IBC, the results be it. Thank you, Mr. Asante sana.
Thank you very much for those words. I think leadership requires some kind of wisdom, skill, and following. That is the most important, and the knowledge. You and age is just but a factor. The world youngest president is 27 years old, and she's a lady. We have the president of France just the other day. He was elected when he was 30 what? I don't know whether it was 32 years of age. So Morara is still within the bracket of becoming the youngest leader in Africa. So it is not too late. Don't even forget, Mise. There is this young, is from Senegal or what? The youngest president in Africa. Is he from Senegal? This tall guy, tall black guy. Yeah, he's the president. He came from nowhere. He was working in the tax department in his country. Mr. You know the tall young president. Yeah, you know the tall young is from Senegal. I think it's from no. Is it from Senegal or Burkina Faso? So those are young leaders who have proved a point. And Africa is in a point where they are electing new people into leadership. So with Morara coming in to occupy the space of leadership, it's a fresh breath. For me, I find it is something fresh. It is something that will open up uh, the, it will open up the eyes of William Ruto, who is the president, and start working on projects which are tangible and fix corruption in the country. So, with him still going round highlighting the corruption in the country, that is a fight. That is a fight, and for a leader, you have to stand for something. For many times, we are told Kalonzo doesn't stand for anything, and that's what makes him not likable by many people. But Raila stands for something. Raila stood for something. He stood for reform. That is why he was liked by many people. Kibaki stood for economic reform. Morara is now standing in with corruption, the fight for corruption, and that is a good start for a young person. So I feel that young people, especially young lawyers like Mise, ought to support individuals like Morara. So he comes with some fresh breath, some new ideas away from the political establishment. Mise. Mise, if
Yeah,
you
yeah. I think you also must understand what informs our fears. The excitement uh, that we have these people come in as the Messiah and they end up letting us down is what informs our fears. And therefore, we are cautious.
or would you rather remain with what we have? Or do you rather remain with what we have and not try something new?
Listen, I do admire Moraro. Uh, I, but I'm not excited because he's young. Okay, I'm not excited of his leadership because he's young. Okay, I am not excited of his leadership because he's exposed the government, because none of this uh, is the beginning. He's not the author of these things. People have done this before. Okay, and good to see Themba here, but and Ashley. But I'm not excited. I want to look more into more uh, qualities of a leader than being excited by the euphoria, because now people are frustrated because of this government of William Samoei Ruto and his brother Raila Molo Odinga. So they are looking for an alternative. I do not want to make a mistake, be excited the way I was excited with William Samoei Ruto, and end up walloping, in myopia because of the excitement. I am cautious. I'm looking more of political, leadership skills, as opposed to the excitement of that is looming in the country. I believe there are many good leaders as well who have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they can bring transformation. I must also say that lawyers in Kenya have let us down. Most scandals that are actually happen are lawyers who are involved. Most parliamentarians and politicians are lawyers who are involved, who are using the law, the knowledge of law, and going around the system to benefit and circumvent the will for them to enrich themselves. And that is why I am very skeptical. In fact, let me tell you, the reason why Kenya is the way it is right now is that most people in politics right now, in parliament, the majority are actually products of India. Okay, so most of these people went and studied law in India, studied BCom in India. The majority, go and look at their profile. I've taken a little bit of time. I've done that, and I've seen that the and I'm not against India, but I can tell you, even right here in Canada, where we have a lot of Asian community, there are a lot of shortcuts, a lot of corruption that actually has compelled the government to come up with stringent measures to try and deal with this kind of behavior. So there are a lot of shortcuts, and I believe that our leaders who actually are beneficiaries of such country have actually inherited some traits that are actually draining our country. Despite the fact that, yes, Africans, we have challenges when it comes to leadership and trust, being trust, having trust in the way we dispense our obligations, we also have copied certain behaviors from foreign. I know many people might disagree with it, but the truth is, look, tell me, most of the members in parliament, the senators, um, these key positions, go look at their background. You'll find that they studied some in India, mostly, the majority, than even the local universities. So for me, I do admire Morara. Don't get me wrong. I admire what Morara is doing. And Morara comes a time when technology has taken precedence, that everybody is at the palm of their hands. They can access technology and information. So he's taking advantage of that, which is good. But at the same time, I feel the narrative should be impeaching Ruto now. The narrative should not be elect me to go to office in order to bring transformation when I'm in the office. The narrative should not be, please go get voting cards, so that when it comes to 2027, so that you can elect me to office in order to vote William Ruto out. No, we don't have the luxury of that time. We want William Ruto impeached now, and his government and his brother Raila Amolo Odinga and those who are in the government. And then we can now sit back and inject new leaders with different ideologies, with different vision to transform the country. But the narrative of us ganging together, funding his campaigns, making sure that he moves from one point to the other, is the same route that William Samoei Ruto used when he was the deputy president to go throughout the country, funded by the money of the people of the Republic of Kenya, through the taxpayers' money. And then he went campaigning throughout the country. And then when it came to 2022, we elected him to become the president of the Republic of Kenya, hoping that he was going to transform the country. The same thing Morara is taking the money directly from the people. It might not be the taxpayers' money, but the people are giving him money directly. Is coming from the citizens of the Republic of Kenya to fund his movement. And when he goes out there, we want to hear him saying, inject and impeach William Samoei Ruto, P.O. Box Sogoi, and then we have new leaders. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Let me invite.
Muzalendo.
Yes.
Yeah, let me say that Ms. I agree with you, at least at the end of what you just said. I agree with it 100%. Na ya kwamba some of us say that if it gets to 227, any elections that come, whatever they have to do between now and 227, Ms. I agree with you. Let it be. But any elections that would happen between any time, we have to front this gentleman. Before your time, when his grandfather, I was in secondary school when his grandfather died. He had penetrated the political system of Wusi, where Lawrence Sagini and Nyamweya were very, very popular. But his grandfather was a firebrand like him. And you see, that's why everybody is in North Mugrango, South Mugrango, everywhere, everybody, anywhere, you find a Morara there. Because he came the same way this guy is coming, Uyu Morara Kebas. He penetrated through the system, and at least in Gusi, I can tell you, Mise, he really shook down what the guys of the days were. Now, this guy, he be shaking it to the whole country, and they are contributing to him. Now, it is not the same way Ruto did. Ruto used this money, borrowed money from people like Rangat, like you just seen, and he has to make his own money back before he can give us anything. So this guy, when he asking Mutu, boda boda, mama anauza DC, anampatia shilingi tano, he will make sure that this guy will get 20 shillings next time. So we are all, I mean, some of us are very emotional to this and very emotionally attached to this gentleman, young man. But because some of us, like I said, Mr. We saw what his granddaddy did. We saw how he spoke. And this gentleman, if he's doing the same thing, we are really amazed and agree with him 100%. Thank you very much, Mr. Len.
All right, let me invite Ashley. Ashley, the lady in the room. Ashley, I know whenever you jump here, you and my brother Temba, there is some controversy somewhere, or there is something that is burning that you need to get out of your chest. That's Ashley Karibu.
Asante sana. I don't have controversy. I really want to talk about the impeachment. And since it's on Friday, this Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So before I do that, I had what's his name? Kanga talk about the Ibrahim Traore, and he said that he also didn't have experience. What Ibrahim Traore actually had experience, and he worked with his the troops. He was sent on a mission, and in that mission they say that Ibrahim Traore followed elite training, notable with the commando units of Paul, or in Morocco, Fieldman IT as his soldier, as Fieldman IT as his soldiers call him, is respected within the ranks for his commitment to combat and his closeness to men. So at least with him, they had seen what he had done when he was working as a captain. And they say, unlike his predecessor, the captain did not go through training, another training of the French, and that makes a big difference in how he's running the country right now. So they had, like the people, those people, the army people who chose him to lead them had an idea of the kind of leadership they were getting into, which is different from the kind of leadership would expect from Morala, because we haven't seen him in action. That's the only correction I wanted to make. There is a big distinct difference between the two in that aspect. With Morala, we are getting a blank check.
Actually, Idi Amin had a very clean record in the military.
I'm not just saying, but then I don't want us to talk so much of Morala as a presidential candidate right now, because we have something coming through on Friday. I don't want to discourage him. I have my own reservations, but I feel that is not for this time. On Friday, there is this public participation going on. And I looked at that paper that Leo posted for us, which I want to thank him, because it helped. And anybody who would like to get that paper can go on parliament.ke, and under motion, something about motion. Let me go back there. You'll be able to see it and you can print it. I think we need, I think we are losing a lot of opportunity right now talking about things that when we have something dire in the works. If you are a person who's been asking, how can we get Ruto out of power before 2027, they have presented their own, it's like them scoring their own goal. This is our opportunity, and today is Wednesday. It's happening on Friday. So we have very little time to organize. That's why I don't want to condemn Morala right now, because whatever he's doing, he has the machinery to make that sure that each of those stations right now, that when the MPs go to those stations, they also have representatives standing at the door and make sure that everybody who enters fills that form, so that the MPs can say how many signatures they have collected, that we can hold them accountable to what wherever they are going, whichever stations they are going, wherever they are meeting people, that we know how many people came and how many people were opposed, how many people were for, and there is another third option which says other. I am going to talk about the other, because it says, do you support this motion? You either tick I support, or I don't support. And then there is other. That is question number 6. Other, I think if you want Ruto to go, you should go to other end, right? That you don't check on the support or not support, you check on other. And then it says specify. That is where the work is. And that is where I hope that we will mobilize people to go, that we will follow them, that we will take proof of what, even though we go take a printer to each station and have those printout, so that when they go to parliament, they can present the correct participation of what the people said. What we need to do is that we want to impeach both Ruto and Gachagua, and we want to dissolve parliament in that position of other. Now, what we need to also go and do is come up with impeachable offenses that Ruto has committed and fill on a separate piece of paper to say, see, you attach that paper with what impeachable offenses you want Ruto impeached on, and the reason you want the parliament to be dissolved, you give the reasons. That's what I wanted to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Let me invite Themba. Then we have Solos. Solos. I hope I got the name. I
Yeah,
hope I pronounced the name Solos correctly. Themba, say something.
yeah. Good evening. It's evening at my side, and I know for all of us, maybe it's just fair to say hi, so that it covers everyone. It's good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Nice to see all of you.
Yes.
And just on the tip of my head, right there, is what Ashley is saying. I think I have a contradictory view around that. If you look at that form, is very clear on the part of it. When you look up, it says the motion that is being collected views on is on the impeachment of the deputy president. So in the space that is written other, you can write anything, but that will not respond to the question of the impeachment, of the motion of impeachment. That is similar to, you know, when you go to an election and the ballot box, and then you're supposed to either tick or cross, and then you put your marks on the other all the rest, you know. So some of those may come out as a spoiled votes. So it would be more useful to help people to appreciate that you either support or you do not support the motion. If you don't support it, that's just put you do not support it. If you support it, you say you support it, and then you specify. Anything you write on other will not be beneficial to the motion that is being done participation on. And I just needed to note that so that you can appreciate. Zalendo, why are you removing the people?
I wanted even as you are
I want to
talking,
look at Mise as I'm
you
talking.
want to be you know you want to admit the reaction. You want I
Yeah,
know.
I want to
I
look at Mise's face as I'm talking. Don't put for me.
I would appreciate if Themba was on the screen so that I could also look at him
yeah, we
back.
want
You
to
know,
see like James Mwangi has just come in. We want to see your faces. And don't run away,
and
James
I know
Mwangi.
Penny will defend me on this one whenever it
Good.
gets forced.
Yeah, James, you need also to put your camera on. Ashley, I'll forgive her because
No, no, no. I mean, you don't have to, but since Mise has requested, I've done that
yeah,
so that
we've not seen you for a while, man. We need to see your face and see how you're doing. It looks great. Yeah.
So I just finished the first point. I mean, we can be excited in matters legal, you know, the processes. So, but the excitement might make us, you know, go way out of what is expected or what will be beneficial to the motion. Probably, if you do not agree with the motion, then you can say I do not support it. I mean, that will be more beneficial than writing several other things. Another thing is I want to comment on the issue of Morara before I now go to the impeachment proper. I think first of all, in democracy, in our democracy, we have, I don't know, 80 something political parties. So INJECT is just part of the other many political parties that are there in our, that are allowed within our constitution. And there's nothing wrong in registering a political party. And Morara has done just what is expected within his democratic right to register a political party. And if it meets the threshold, they have been registered, and that's fine. But does it have any significance in the upcoming election? It might not. But as a democracy, that is a good thing. I mean, we are a multi-party democracy nation, and anybody who meets the threshold is allowed to register their political party. However, we need to also be alive to the terrain, the political terrain that he is operating in. There are several other things that would determine the success or otherwise of the political party. And I don't think, in my view, as at right now, he has given me a convincing reason as to him providing an alternative leadership to whatever is there right now. I haven't seen that, other than highlighting on sold projects, which, in my view, is something that anybody can do. You know, coming to your village and saying that this project was launched this particular day, it still leaves you with a problem. So there's nothing like a solution. I mean, it's not suggesting that if he comes today, he's going to finish that road. So part of the things that he's doing, they are more of just, in my view, they are things of the moment, and I don't see them really sustaining a political campaign come 2027. That, in my view, would be. I also don't see him having a political mass. He might not have the political mass, the political muscle to mount a very serious political campaign come 2027. So as at now, I don't think it's just a euphoric thing, and at some point, I think he's not necessarily on his own. Probably he's being used by certain quarters that we probably will get to know at some point. So that is that with Morara's thing. About the impeachment thing.
Bemba, can I please interject before you go to the impeachment on this question that we have, that you have talked about? If you don't mind, can we stay there for a minute? I need to ask you one question before you move on. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Zalendo can say, okay.
Okay, no, I didn't want to look like I'm interfering, but I don't want to ask you. I wanted to see whether we can. It says, number 6 says, what are your views on the motion? Question mark. Tick appropriate. That means you can't tick two answers. So you have to tick one. So it says, what are your views on the motion? And what is the motion? In the matter of consideration for the special motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So you're saying, if I'm asked what my view of that is, if I write other, and then I specify that I do not believe that only Gachagua should be removed from office, but even Ruto should also be removed. And these are my grounds for thinking that Ruto should be removed. And then I attach a copy specifying, just like they have, what violations I think they have. I want to ask you, don't you think that's a good answer? And I know Misa is also an attorney. I would like to hear what he has to say.
All right. Anyway, Misa, even as you come in, the issue of Gashagua's impeachment is going through Parliament, and the people who are going to vote in Parliament and to participate in the process are parliamentarians, not Kenyans. They are parliamentarians who are Kenyans who are elected, and they are being controlled by one William Ruto. The minority who are not going to participate in the process have already come out strongly and said they are not going to participate. Does it make a difference? Perhaps we might be asking some things that we have got no control over. But one thing I believe in is that the impeachment will not take place. It is just a smoke screen, and Ruto will save Gachagua. Just wait for tomorrow. You'll see a lot of MPs backing down on the process. This is just a political move uh, to try and hide the corruption that is happening in government. And we have fallen to it. Actually, you've fallen to it, and so many Kenyans who have fallen to it. What was it so necessary to impeach Gachagua? Look at the grounds of impeachment on Gachagua. These are very flimsy grounds of impeachment, and they cannot hold any water. So even if it goes through, for example, Gachagua has got a legal team that is advising. If at all they want to go through the impeachment, Gachagua will resign at the 11th hour, and that will not happen. If he sees that he doesn't have the numbers, he'll simply resign. And that will be the end of it. Because if he lets it go through and he doesn't have the numbers, then he'll become another Waititu, another Sonko. He'll never run in office again. So this thing is neither here or there. So Gachagua will act, or William Ruto will use it to gain popularity in Mount Kenya. So he can spin it around, save Gachagua and gain ground in Mount Kenya. It's very simple. That is my take. I don't know whether you have a contrary opinion.
So do I?
Yes, you can go on, Demba.
About the question Ashley is asking, you see, you can add and then put on your thing, but that's not the motion. So that will be noted, but it is not the motion. The motion is the impeachment of the deputy president. So it can only be noted, but it is not the motion. It's possible that if the Constitution provides a provision where members of the public can provide a petition. So that's the different thing. But the motion that has been voted on is this one. So it helps to just, if you don't agree with it, I mean, attaching so many things will not help it. Will not help. It will not even find its way anywhere. You can say other specify. I want Ruto to go with Gachagua, but that will be noted. But it will not really find its way into the. It will just be categorized as those people who do not support the motion, basically. So even if you have other, there are those who support it and those who do not support. So those who support it will have to specify. I do not support. I support, and maybe the grounds that you support. As opposed to Mzalendo, I think the goose is cooked. Whether it doesn't go through or not, in fact, if it doesn't go through, the worse for the whole regime, because you cannot expose your deputy this much and then still want to survive with him for the rest of the time. So right now, it would have been possible if it would not have gone to the voting that was done for the motion. But once the motion had already reached Parliament and they actually voted on it, and they laid those grounds out. How do you take those grounds? What will have happened to sanitize the grounds that have already been laid? That anything, he'll have to be heard to see what does he have to say. In fact, one of the things that he said, one of the grounds that he said that undermining the president and the cabinet and the effective discharge of national government, that's already imputing insubordination in part of the deputy president. Which, how do you take that back once you say that they are going to come out tomorrow and they are going to step? Once it has gone through, the relationship is already done, whether this thing goes through or not. The political ramification is that there's already the damage that has been done, and it will be so hard to bring it back. So even if he remains, he'll be more emboldened, and there's nothing that he might not be controlled. So I mean, but that is neither here. Let me just finalize my thoughts on this. Gachagwa's impeachment is a statement, just like some people have said it, that the arrogance that had come in with this leadership, and like someone pointed out, it is not just arrogant to the arrogance of Gachagua, but also general arrogance in the regime that had been seen. Insensitiveness to what is taking place. And like someone put it somewhere, that Gachagua had refused to accept that he's already a national leader, and it would be important for him to start behaving like he's not in the campaign trail. That it's time for him to start to appreciate that the things that he says have greater results than just Mount Kenya. His obsession with making himself the kingpin of Mount Kenya was wanting, in my view. He needed to have continued in the trajectory of painting himself as a national leader. And his talk and tone has not exemplified him as a national leader. And therefore, whichever way this impeachment goes, in my view, he has portrayed himself, as he keeps on saying, as a village leader. He needed to have, if indeed, like they kept on saying, that they were elected with one ticket as a president, then he's also a symbol of national unity. So it behooved him to stand up and continuously preach the unity call to the whole nation, and speak as the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, not as the deputy president of the Mount Kenya region, which, in my view, was not right. Now, some people are saying that impeaching Gachagua is not the most important thing right now. In my view, I think there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. So, if you are eating and you see a mouse going to your granary, you'll stop eating and go and take care of that. So, in my view, there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And all these things can happen in a political scenario that we are in. Gachagua can be impeached, but we can still expect that other arms of government have not stopped working. They still need to deliver to the people of Kenya. That is how a democracy works. You are not supposed to stop that now. Today we are stopping, we want to impeach Gachagua, or we are stopping the development because Gachagua has to be impeached. No, all of these things are, we will see the thing. One time we talk about in Kenya, we don't address corruption. We only let the small fish and we don't address the big fish. Once you have started picking in the big fish, then we say that is not the most important thing right now. I don't think we are being honest with ourselves as a country. The first thing is, whatever it is that time comes for us to do right, we do right. I mean, whether it's Gachagua who goes, whether it is Ruto is going to go after that, but still other things that deliver services to Mwananchi needs to continue. So as for this, I think it's a good thing for democracy because we have not tested the impeachment clause, and it is coming now that we are seeing a deputy president with this constitution being taken through the impeachment process. We want to see how it's going to pan out. Some people have insisted that they need to go together. That is not the constitution. You know, if you're impeaching, you have to bring grounds. If you want to impeach Ruto, then there has to be a different motion that's going to impeach the president. And if they were going to bring the two motions together, then that would have been a different scenario. But right now, the motion on the ground is impeachment of Gachagua. I want to disagree with Mr. I don't know where he went. He has suggested that because many MPs went to India, therefore they are lacking certain quality, certain kind of quality leadership. I think that is not okay. I beg to disagree with that kind of thinking. Remember, India is, in terms of education, it's very, very far ahead of even Kenya, you know. And the reason why most of our people went to study in India was because technologically they were pretty much advanced. And it is unfair to blankly say that because you went to school in India, therefore you are kind of having some deficiency in leadership quality. I think that's not correct supposition. We could put it because your lack of leadership quality or lack of implementation of certain kind of leadership expectation, it's because of other interests that someone could be having. And largely politics is about interest. What would certain things that and positions they are taking respond to what interests? What interests are they having at that particular point in time? Remember, there was a time that it was very, very nice to go with certain people, maybe in the political calculation. But right now, some of them feel like now Gachagua has become the person to bear the biggest burden. Yet at some point, he was the one who seemed to have been having the biggest influence in central Kenya. And it was surprising that he could not muzzle the all of central Kenya MPs not to vote for the thing. So it is interest that goes through, especially in politics, and that is what you're seeing here. Their lack of doing certain things or supporting certain things is much of interest. What interests are they having at a particular point? And politics largely is about interest. We may be so emotional about certain things, but where is the position? Where does it lie in our political system? So that is what probably I want to stop there for now. Get another chance, maybe I'll be able to comment on something else. Back to you, Mzalenda.
Yeah, I need to change my camera battery, but we can go on for a few more minutes. Now, Ashley, if this question is meant for you, Suppose this motion goes through and Gachagua is indeed impeached. How is the political landscape in Kenya going to be uh, regarding the political realignment if this motion goes through? Is it of any benefit to the current regime? Ashley?
Hello? Sorry.
Yes.
Misa is not
Yes.
here.
Mr.
Misa,
You will be listening on the background. He's doing something. Yeah.
I would have wanted perspective on this question I was asking, because I do know that you can amend a motion, and the reason they gave other is because there is a thing that you can put there, and you can amend a motion. You can ask to amend it or modify it. So we can ask to modify this motion, as long as you include the reason you wanted to have it modified. It should be your view on this motion. Do you support it? I don't support it. Do you not support it? And there is other. Other means I want it amended. And these are my reasons for wanting amended. I want Ruto included. And these are my reasons for thinking that he should be added on there. I still think that I feel like for anyone who wants Ruto to go, this is the opportunity. It is, and they have presented it itself. It might not, what they will do, it might be a technicality, but it will expose them as being ingenuous, because it will show they are not genuine when they are accusing Gachagua by himself, because Ruto has committed more atrocities than Gachagua, or even equal, if not more. So if they are not willing to hold Ruto accountable, then it will look like the reason that they are fighting Gachagua is political. So that is why we should do it and expose them for who they are. Whether it goes through or not, the fight remains. For people like me who think this whole administration should go, is that we need to stay focused and leave them to their drama. Whether they remove Gachagua, whether they don't remove Gachagua, Ruto is the one who is up there, and it's him that we want gone. I don't think the motion is helping us as a people, but it will help them. This is going to help them with Ruto is thinking about 2027, his plans for extending of his term limits, and this alignment is going to help him with what he wants to do. Definitely it will. I think
my fear, Ashley, you've got this. I think it's running in your head that that motion can be amended. This will require a separate motion, a motion to impeach William Ruto.
No, it can't. Let me tell you something. The way it's, I don't know why you're thinking that, because even when someone takes you to court, you can counter, like you can also file a counter claim. Even a motion, because they have asked A and B, they see the other, it's called creative thinking. You can add their other. And what if, because they want public participation, they want to know, what do the majority of the public want? Do they want Gachagua to be removed? Do they support Gachagua to be removed? Are they not in support of Gachagua to be removed? And if they're not in support of Gachagua to be removed or Gachagua not to be removed, what is their other opinion? There are three ways the public can answer. They can either support Gachagua to be removed. They may not be in support of Gachagua to be removed. I am of the opinion that the third other is an opportunity for people like me who wants the whole administration to go. And that it's asking me, what is my view of that motion? My view of that motion, that it should be modified to include Ruto. It should be that is my view. So if more than 70% of Kenyans have if they do public participation and see that more than 70% of Kenyans have the view that that motion should be reviewed, then they should review it or never come back to do public participation if our input doesn't mean anything. I am saying, just like they are wanting to put this motion of impeachment into to see how it works, we need to go out there actively and get involved and put we want it amended to include Ruto and see where that goes.
Maybe Temba, you can jump in because
Again, I think it behooves me. No. I think we just need to repeat again. That is not how it works. It is a good thinking, but it's not how it works. Once a motion has been put forward, anything that else that will the only thing that will matter is that those people support the motion. They will give their reasons for supporting. Anybody else are people against the motion. So whatever you put in there will not matter in this particular motion. It will be processed, it will go on record, but that is what people have said, probably wherever they keep them. But it will not matter, it will not change the trajectory. It will be like, this is the people who support it, and this is what they have said. And these are the people who do not support it, and this is what they have said. Now, does that determine the process of how the motion will proceed on? It will not determine. Remember, this is a political process. And the idea of public participation is just so that it beats the legal question that someone would have. Remember, just so you understand, the public participation they're doing right now, it's not so much so that your views can be included. It's so that they can meet the legal challenge that in the event that the person who is being charged says that this thing did not go through public participation, they are able to, they cannot find that. All this is just about to remove the legal hurdles that might come. So saying that maybe majority, if you put this, is likely to be amended, nothing like that is going to happen. They cannot amend this motion. If this motion fails, it will go through the process. They will vote on it. Whether your public participation says yes or no, they will still move on through with it. Then they'll have to vote through it, and maybe they'll vote to eventually give him an opportunity to come talk. Then maybe at the voting, if they will have considered the view, then probably the voting will suggest what has been considered. But it's a political process. So it's a good thing to think about. Okay, fine, people give their view, they do it. In any case, there's no better referendum like what has been happening all through, where people have said Ruto must go and stuff like that. So if there was anything to be listened to, that was well enough. This one, in my considered view, it is not going to follow that. Now, for instance, if you are given a voting, assuming the names of all the presidential candidates on the ballot, and then you're told to tick one, then you go and tick all of them, or you tick none. Assuming you say we don't want any of this, and all of you decide that you're not going to tick any of them, and the majority of people do not choose any of the presidential candidates that have been given there, they will consider all those like spoiled ballots. You remember, you have said you have ticked all of them, so those are spoiled ballots. They'll pick only the ballots that will be showing that have been ticked correctly. So at the least of what that will have happened, it will have spoiled the voting process. So in my view, if you do not agree with the motion, you just say I do not support, and that's it. If you have other is anything that you could be having to say, maybe you can say there, just say we need both of them to go. I mean, you can put your views there. That's okay. Nobody denies you that. But if it have an input, no, it will not have an input. It will just come into those people who have not agreed with that particular motion. Now, if there's any other time that another motion will be brought or any other MP will come in and bring a motion that includes both, then that will be a different motion. So maybe, Ashley, what you need to understand is that you cannot amend a motion that has already been passed as it is. That is the motion on the floor. But now you can give your views.
But the motion has not yet to be passed. That is why they are going round. I don't know whether in Kenya there is, but I know in America there are 3 ways to amend a motion. You can insert words, you can strike words, or you can change, you can add to the motion, or you can remove from the motion. So you can add to the motion. That, and please, can you get Misa here to give us that perspective?
No, we'll get missed, but at the same time, there are also facts in law, and these are things which are in the constitution. The articles that impeach the deputy president is Article 150. The article that impeach the president is Article 145, and you cannot impeach both of them at the same time. They have to be brought in as separate motion. That is the law. There's nothing other than that. That is what the law says. And that is not the end of the process. It has to go to Senate. Whatever, if it passes Parliament, it will have to go to Senate again. And the deputy president will have to get at least 2/3 of the majority of senators to impeach the deputy president. But wishing, it is just a wishful thinking that you can impeach both the president and the deputy at the same time. That is not within the constitution. They have to come as separate motions.
Yeah, I think that's a very romantic idea to think about. But again, even I think Ashley is going to be correct. When you're amending, you cannot amend a motion the way it has been passed. You can amend clerical error to read a different, just clerical error, not amend the substance of a motion. If you're amending the substance of a motion, it has to go back to the inception. So those are things that you need to appreciate. This motion has already, the first stage is the introduction of the motion, where you have 290, whatever the threshold that the constitution puts in it. The motion is read as it is, and the grounds are given. Then now the other processes kick in. Once the motion has been given as it is, you can change clerical things, but not the substance of the motion. So by saying that you want to impeach 2 people, then you are changing the substance of the motion. That's a different thing altogether. But anyway, as it is, we wait and see the process, how they're going to follow. I think Ben Nyagato wants to say something.
Yes, Tempa, thank you very much. Yeah, nilikuwa nasema, one is a question and a comment. My question is this: when say the parliamentarians vote for it on Friday, it goes to the Senate and they vote for it. My question is, does the judiciary have any say towards the impeachment of this gentleman? Does the judiciary come anywhere there? My comment is this: I don't know whether it is Temba Mzalendo said that at the 11th day, Yukachawa can resign and all this. We do not want him to do that. Personally, I want him to go through whatever. If it is impeachment, so be it. If there is no judiciary coming in, so be it. Because at the end of the day, he's done. His goose is cooked. So that if it turns out to be like Waititu or Osokos, he can still have a lot of influence as to who is elected from the mountain. I think to that effect, I think that would be a very good idea. Like as far as running for anything in Kenya, if it's impeached, it is done. So if somebody can help me, if the constitutional, if the law, the legislature, the judiciary have anything to say, and we do not want them to resign. Thank you.
It's possible okay, constitutionally, once he has been impeached within 14 days, another person will be appointed by the president and then taken to parliament. Then parliament will approve of that person. The constitution is silent on what happens after he's been impeached, after it is vacant. The constitution does not envisage that after impeachment you are going to seek. Probably he is allowed to go to court to challenge his impeachment, just like the governors do, and then they are given an opportunity to stay in the office as they are, like Kawira Mwangaza. What happened to her? So that one may not comment. The other one that you have talked about is the influence of Gachagua in Central. I disagree. I know Zalendo tends to have the view that he has a lot of influence in Central. I disagree with that particular view for this reason. Most of the people who came to even Central, those who joined the UDA, they didn't join because of Gachagua. They joined UDA directly through Ruto. So the people of Central, especially the MPs who joined UDA, they did not join UDA because of the influence of Gachagua. And if you guys can remember, the time that they were having the discussion around getting the deputy president, the word in the wire said that most of those UDA from Central, even, they voted against Gachagua. They voted to have Kindiki. And you see, that was telling of the disagreement, of the influence that he has never had in Central. So I think that is why it would be even easier for the president to let him off, because he understands that even look at the voting for the motion for it even to go to be introduced into parliament. He did not manage quite a big chunk of Central around himself. So that tells you that his influence is not as being taunted, that, it's going to cause complications. First of all, Gachagua is a divisive figure within Central Kenya itself. And remember, Central Kenya, we have Uhuru Kenyatta, who is seen as still the kingpin. And then you have other people who also want that particular position. They want to still get the political voice in Central, including the Ishungwas. And remember also the Kiambu governor, Kwamatangi, and Gachagua are not really seeing eye to eye. So he has more enemies within Central. And I don't think after impeachment, he's going to have any strong voice in Central. Probably Central will have a lot of divided political voices that will be coming in. So as opposed to what Mzalendo is thinking, I don't think it will be, he has already created too many enemies before he became the deputy president. Then when he was the deputy president, he created further enemies. Remember him trying to interfere with different MPs, trying to tell them things, bullying them around. I think those things have created a lot of shaky ground for him politically in Central. So I don't think it's going to be, he's going to cause a lot. It will be easier to galvanize the central votes outside his influence. I don't think he has that kind of in my view, I don't think he does have. So whether he's impeached or not, first of all, if he doesn't get impeached, I think already the damage has been done. Those things that have been leveled against him are already too weighty politically. They might not be weighty legally, but they are weighty politically. The same person who used to tell us that we inherited empty coffers to go ahead and be accused of certain things. And this is a political process, not a legal process. The other legal, I think after that, they might also consider taking him to court for other things that probably might make him go face criminal charges on the other things that he has faced. Remember, the president cannot be face any charges when he's still in office, so him is immune to that. So I think, Pen, I can comfortably say that I do agree with you that the goose is cooked for him. But even if he survives, their relationship is going to be very, very, shaky. Because once you've already removed everything that you guys have gone through and said it out there, it's really hard for you again to start surviving together. So either way, it's going to be a very shaky relationship moving forward. Back to Mzalem.
Yes, Simba, you're right. But again, Penny asked a very important question that can the judiciary save Gachagua? Yes, the judiciary can look at each and every article independently and see whether his rights have been violated. That one is within his constitutional right. But right now, his life really depends on the Senate. So Senate can decide to save him. But if he sees that the process was unfair, then the courts, the High Court, remember, uh, the courts in Kenya are really fighting Parliament, and some of the decisions they have gone against Parliament and the Senate. So that can happen, but they will have to look at each and every article independently to see whether his rights were violated. Yeah, that is my take on that particular issue.
Yeah,
And
and that's the reason why they're doing the public participation, because some of the reasons why some other impeachments have been thrown out because some people have said that there was no public participation. One of them is the BBI.
oh,
They said
yeah, you see,
yeah,
BBI was so big, it went through Parliament, it went through all the assemblies in Kenya. But what did the courts do?
they said there was no public participation.
This
So,
is
but
rubbish.
anyway, it was thrown because of the person who introduced the BBI, because they said it was
The
introduced by
president
the
cannot.
executive. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The
Yeah.
executive cannot introduce.
So this one is one of the other things the impeachments may have challenges is public participation, which they have. The problem with Gachagua is he talks a lot, so he
But
preempted.
even fair hearing, Gladys Bostole, what position does she hold in Parliament? Who is she?
She's the deputy speaker.
She is the deputy speaker. She goes in public and says this guy has to go.
You see,
Already a violation.
you may not use that. You may not use that because you see who introduced the motion. You see, none of them introduced the motion.
None of
If
them introduced the
yeah,
motion, but the fair hearing comes from, of course, the speaker has to give. The speaker himself has to be fair.
no,
We
but
need
she did. She
a
was not the
moderator.
one. She was not the one seated. Let's see how it pans out. I mean, those are very very interesting views, though. But let's see how it pans out. But one of the things they knew that he was going to challenge was public participation. So, for purposes of interest, is that public participation as that now is not that so that they actually change their mind because you have said Gachagua is not guilty. That is not the thing. It's to fulfill the idea that there was public participation. And as you may notice, that I think other than Central, he might not have a lot of supporters across the country. So, as
I feel not. I mean, I, I don't have any interest in Gachagua being. I don't see any value the deputy president brings in that office. I've never seen the kind of impact. Even the former deputy presidents who have been in that particular position, This issue is gaining a lot of traction for basically nothing, if you ask me, because the decisions made by the deputy president, his services to the people of Kenya are delegated by the president. He's the one who gives him a job. So if the president does not give him a job, then he's jobless. Ndio anarandaranda kila mahali. So I think he has got a lot of ground because he has been left redundant. He has been discriminated. He's got a lot of ground, and the courts might be just saving at the end of the day. Because some of the things that Mudavadi is doing is what the deputy president should be doing. And the last time I saw Banaruto delegating to his deputies some work, I don't know when, maybe the time they were inaugurated, I don't think he has even given him some responsibilities publicly. Remember Moody Awori was given the prison by the late Mwai Kibaki, and he did some wonderful reforms in the prison. So this guy called Gashagwa, what can we say that he had been given to work on that he failed? Those are perhaps the biggest questions that we need to be asking. Ni kazi gani hiyo alipatiwa akashindwa kufanya? Yeah. Ni kazi gani? But when you talk about corruption and the money that he has stolen, look at the money that is being stolen that is not accountable in Kenya today by the ministers.
It seems, Alendo, you're not being honest. You see, just because money is being stolen by other people, it does not excuse for someone stealing money.
That's just by the way. But I wanted you to give me an honest opinion and tell me this guy was given this job and he failed to do it.
You see, the grounds. You need to read the grounds because that is what is informing impeachment. It is not what we think is the grounds of impeachment. So when you look at these grounds of impeachment, the question that you wanna ask: do these grounds? Do you think these grounds are worth the deputy president being impeached? So for me, I think
I want to put them on the screen there. Then you look at them one by one.
I have them here. So you see.
Look, even for the viewers at home, can look at the grounds that Gachagua is being impeached. This was in the Star newspaper today.
Personally, gross violation of Articles 1, the special significant undermining the national unity and the peace. Now, you see, Gashag, you and I, unless we really want to behave like we are fallen from Mars, statements like their shareholders from the office of the deputy president, that's not a good statement. You know, that in itself should be a reason for someone to question. He's the same one who came and said that we have shareholders, and he was speaking.
That is evidence. Ruto gives the seats according to.
No. Listen.
Huh?
Listen. You see the good thing that you guys say that so and so even. The person we are discussing is the deputy president, not the president, and not the ministers, and not the others, because that's what people are using. They are saying, oh, even so and so, even so and so. It's just like you come and you find that people have stolen, then you say, even so and so have stolen, so I shouldn't be crucified.
Remember me, my only problem I have with the deputy is only one thing.
No. Let me finish.
Yes.
Right? Public statements inconsistent with the policy positions. You see, it was first of all not very good for the deputy president to accuse the NSIS boss, who is supposed to be someone that they are working with, they are sitting in the National Security Council together. You know, that in any situation, that is already One, insubordination of the presidency. This is someone you sit with in the same national, you see, that is exposing our national security, intelligence, whatever, operations. It's a country. The least he should have done is in their meeting, not coming out and appearing immediately when the president has given a press statement. Then he decides to give a presser. So that one he was misadvised. Together with the other things that you go to insist that you need some money to. The other things. But for me, those ones I found to be like he had already taken himself to be like it's co-presidency. It is not co-presidency. You have one president. And do you want to afford ourselves another 5 years of what we had with Uhuru and Ruto for 8 years, for 6 years? So if that can sort the issue right now, so that at least the next 2 years or 3 years, you have a seamless flow of an administration that is working with each other, as opposed to pulling aside when everybody feels like they need to pull. I think it's a good thing. Is it the most important thing? No, it's not the most important thing for us. But is it a good thing? It's a good thing. All these things should move together. So as to whether we think, positions are different, and I do respect the others who view like he shouldn't, because or whatever. I hold the view that, like I said earlier, it's never a wrong time to do the right thing. If it is the right thing to do, so that he can be called to order, and if possible, if he gets fired, and we get someone who is going to work with you better have a team that is working together, so that there's no excuses that are being brought across, rather than say again for the next 3 years that the deputy president did not support me. Of late, actually, before the impeachment, the deputy president was saying that you should just wait. It's only 3 years. Then now you can choose someone else. So within the 3 years, when you guys are not agreeing, Kenyans are suffering. You see, you are still stealing. You are still being paid as a deputy president. When he was going around, he was going on taxpayers' money. When he was going around trying to, to wipe up emotions, to support him that he's under siege. He was using the public coffers' money. So he needs to get out of there, so that if he wants to campaign, let him campaign, wait for 2027, instead of saying keep me for the 3 years, because we are in the same ticket. Wacha tungoje tu miaka tatu ishe. I don't think it's fair for Kenyans for you to sit again with a disagreeing executive for the next 3 years, and with someone who thinks that he should be a village elder instead of being a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya.
All right. Penny or Ashley,
Yeah,
can jump in.
let me add something. Therefore, I agree with you 100%. Lakini ile ambayo I agree mostly is when he attacked the Hachi son, sijui yule ni mkubwa ya DCI, and it was really personal on his part, because Hachi had demoted or transferred people that were directly linked to him. At least that one, I don't think there is any court that can defend him. Other than that, the other issues are completely subjective. Will they vote him out? Especially in parliament, yes. But will they stand the evidentiary system of the court system anywhere in the world? I don't think so. Except that one, the other ones are just wishful thinking. Come on, say for example, the one he said the Kenya is like a corporation. That's a common mistake. Anybody can make a mistake. You can say I made a mistake there. But in general, in a deep sense, any president comes from anywhere, he comes with his own people. And that's any society. Lakini kama ya Kenya itaki, so be it. So if we accept that it goes to court, then we have another issue altogether. But if it's only the legislature in parliament and the Senate, then it's done. But some of us will not accept for him to resign because we want to test the issues. We want Kama Sonko and Waititu made a wrong mistake and they were fired for it, so be it. But this gentleman, other than attacking the Haji son, he has not done anything. He has only spoken what he has spoken. But to see how far the other side is in as far as selling the whole country and doing what they are doing, we don't see what the Gachagua did to be worse, 100 times worse than them, because they're not taking us anywhere. If anything, they are selling the whole country and making everybody poor and dependent on the foreigners. So that if you come and tell us that Gachagua has done something wrong so that he need to be impeached and this and that, what have they done? What are they going to do for the future of our country? None. Zero. And I don't think they're that smart to think through all that. They're naive. Therefore, when I met you, I was supporting this gentleman fully. But I've come to realize that he would never change. He would never be anything that what he was. He had us go through hell in the 80s, and is now 2024. He's having us go through double hell. Asante Mzalendo.
Actually, even as we wind up, we've done 2 hours. I think that is good enough for the show. Ashley, your word.
Yeah, I have what the members so, and we are not in 2022. Someone like you, Nick, someone like Nyagaka, someone like me, and a lot, and even Misa, who was here before, supported Ruto in 2022, and we don't now. And even there is a lot of people in Mount Kenya who are not fans of Gachagua. But one of the things that they have made, the wrong they have done, is that not only are they attacking Gachagua, but they are also attacking and alisema usiguze mlima. He's the one who was, like he was putting the mlima in a way people are not. It's like you putting it there to be attacked when you defend yourself using it. Now the wrong they have done, even if you are impartial, you feel attacked if you belong to that community when they start talking about you and including you who is non-tribal in Gachagua, just because you speak the same language of him. So not only is Gachagua being attacked, most or everybody in Mount Kenya that speaks like him feels attacked. When people say, I want to see the people of the mountain cry, so is it about Gachagua and his character as DP, or is it the people that you hate? And if you hate the people and I belong to that community, then you force those people to come to his defense when they would not ordinarily do so, because it becomes more not about him, but about the community. And that's where they went wrong. They should have stuck on Gachagua and his habit or whatever, his attitude as a DP of not being integrating. But when you attack him on that he was helping the mountain people, then you're including them and you make them turn around. I see so many people who are Azimio, and right now they are defending Gachagua, not because they are tribal, but because they have felt personally attacked as people of that community. So if you expect that he will not be protected, you are so wrong. What we can say, time will prove that you are wrong. Let me tell you, even the people who voted, I think you have started seeing some saying, we only voted for the motion to be introduced. They have been told, if you vote for it, you better stay in State House. Don't come back home. Let's see what will happen in the next voting. There will be a change. So they won't agree. And it's not because they are tribal. It's just because it starts to feel personal from the utterances of the people who are trying to impeach him. It starts to feel this is a little more personal. This is about hating of a community. Even people, sometimes you want to support somebody, but they are hostile to you, so you push them away. If it's about national cohesion, is it in exclusion of the Kikuyu, or is it in inclusion of everybody? That we can support. But when you want to eliminate or isolate one community, then it's not, there is a problem there. And that's what I see the problem with this Gachagua thing, that will bring sympathy to him, just as during Ruto's time and Uhuru mistreated Ruto so much that people like me who did not support him went there to support him because of sympathy. And that sympathy is now being directed at Gachagua because of the mistreatment or the utterances of the people who are bringing this motion, or the people who are even supporting it. They are supporting it because they want the people of the mountain to suffer. We are not angels. If we were lied to and we believed, what was the crime? And if we were lied to and Ruto ended up lying to us, but he has also, Raila is now his enabler. That means he was no better. So it doesn't, you can't say, oh, Uhuru told you, but even the person he was bringing to us was no better. Because if he had any character, if he had any integrity, he would not be walking around with Ruto for any reason. Whether he won the AU seat, he should be a man of character who will not be tarnished, will not walk around with a man who has been killing our children, even up to date, still abducting them, and some are still missing. All the people at Mukuru Kwanjega, Ruto has never visited the site to see where his citizens were sliced. And the person who sliced them, I know right now he was killed because he started saying he didn't do it, and they wanted to frame him, and they said he ran away from jail. How? So I don't even know what to say. But this thing about, anyway, let me stop ranting, but we'll see what will happen in the days to come. People think.
Actually, you just reminded me that guy ran away from jail, and nobody knows where he is.
He didn't run away. They took him out, and he will never be found, because if he went to court, he would have spoken the truth that he didn't do it. So still, people would wonder who did it. And the question still remains, who did it? Because it wasn't him, and he had to disappear, and he will not be found because they killed him. That is my suspicion. And that's why we have to say, we can't say, oh, you cannot still expect, even though he brings another Kikuyu, that trust is gone.
That was a very powerful statement, and I agree with you in many factors. That Gachagua should have been judged alone, and not with the Kikuyu community, who are not, some of them who are not tribal. And again, Kikuyu community coming in aid of Gachagua, just as you said, it's probably because of sympathy and looking at one of our own. Let us also not forget that Kenya is very tribal when it comes to politics, and when it comes to a member of your community being put out there on a test. Then you see the community coming to his aid, even if they know that he's a thief and he's been caught red-handed. They will still come back and support their thief. That huyo ni mwizi wetu. I remember that kind of chorus some years back. Huyu ni mwizi wetu.
Regardless of your mtu wetu, that mtu wetu is not even playing. Like I know people who are in Azimio, so many, like even in these groups, and you see people attacking them and laughing at them, and these people are in the same, they were in Azimio, and now you've forgotten. And the only reason, like me, I'm not tribal, but I feel myself going that way, but it is because of how I'm hearing people talking. They are talking with so much hatred until you find yourself.
Yes, I agree with you, Ashley. There is so much hatred when it comes to politics, and you can find yourself.
You're hating the tribe. Why are you hating the tribe? So you're like, okay, I'm supporting Gachagua to go. But the way they're talking of let Kikuyus cry, would I be crazy to say let Kikuyus cry and I'm a Kikuyu? I wouldn't. So why don't we pick? If they, let me tell you, and this is tribal, because, and then you start asking, it's not only Kikuyus. We persecuted Uhuru as Kikuyus, and then you expect us also to persecute Gachagua, yet they are the tribes when they do bad. Like this guy who said that people should, the youth, the Gen Z should be killed, even 5,000 a day. He's still in court and he's still standing up and giving a motion. Why until now has he not been impeached? You see, that's what you should be fair to all. That was like it should not be there. The guy who sent people to rape a guy because the governor of Mombasa action should also have been taken on him. When that happens, then you feel that you're not attacking a community and finishing their leaders, that this is what we want as a country, to have reputable leaders. But only when you attack one tribe and attack their leaders who are bad, and you're not attacking other tribes whose leaders are bad, then it becomes a problem.
You see, like the governor for Mombasa, he has been accused of sodomizing that young man. I mean, it is very, very sad. It is very, very. It shows you the state of of our country called Kenya, where there is the police. The police can decide to ignore and act on cases that they feel are political. The police are no longer a service, but they work for the state. There are state machinery used to intimidate dissenting voices and politicians who don't agree with the government of the day. That is where we are in our politics, and it is retrogressive. We are not going. We are not moving ahead. We are just going back to the days when police could unleash brutality among the citizens or people who don't agree with the government of the day. It is sad. Bodies have been found in rivers and many other places. Gen Zs have been tortured to submission. The reason why if people ask what happened to the Gen Zs, these young boys were really tortured. They were really tortured to an extent that they just said to dwell with it. Kama ni hiyo siasa, let it be, because the government is hell-bent to stay in power at all costs, even to an extent of killing. So you can look at what happened to the young man in Mombasa, and the governor was called. Safaricom, the police have not even acted on the governor. Yet we are in parliament. You see parliamentarians from Mombasa not even condemning the action, apart from Mohammed Ali, who has condemned the action. All the parliamentarians in Coast have not even talked about it. It is a sad scenario. It is a sad scenario. So the issues that cannot be spoken in mainstream media can be spoken in our small platform, and possibly as somebody who is sane in government can act, and even the minimal you can do is to tell the governor to record a statement. Yeah, it record a statement. But I believe the civil society should take up this matter and ensure that this guy is banned from even going out of the country, yeah, to any other country. Is brutal. Is brutal. You cannot do that to a human being and be happy. And he's on camera each and every day. Akijionyesha hapo yeye ni shujaa. The people of Mombasa, shame on you.
ODM as a party should call him. The Senate should summon him. If they did stuff like that, then we can see them also coming to impeach Gachagua. But when they start choosing a certain community and cutting the legs of their leaders, accusing them of crimes, like during the cabinet nomination, we saw that every cabinet minister who was coming back, who was being reinstated, had made substantial profits. Where did those profits come from? We know that these leaders are all corrupt. So when you start talking that he has increased his revenue or his profits, or he has accumulated wealth well beyond his income, let us look at Ruto. You know what? I would like this thing to go through. Then we will use the same, let them set a precedent. Once they set the precedent, we will use the same reasons to take Ruto to court and ask for an impeachment using the direct the people directly take him to court. And me, what I would, my conclusion is this: I would like, when the MPs come, those people who are doing public participation use this opportunity to also collect signatures from people who want to remove Ruto, so that they don't have to do it another day. So that when they go to court with the impeachment motion they have currently asking the court to take Ruto out, they will have those signatures ready. Let us get prepared if we are serious about getting Ruto out. That's my closing remark.
All right. Thank you, viewers. Those who have been on the comment section, Laban Mkiani, Asante Sana, Gypsy Corner, you did disappoint, and many others. I can't mention you all. And those who have been on the X space, thank you very much. But one thing I need you to do for me, make sure that you subscribe to our pick, so that we can get them numbers moving. And this evening, we will continue to follow up on the story of Gachagua, what will happen in this morning. Sorry, here it is around 2:30 a.m. We will follow up on the impeachment story of Gachagua and see what our MPs are doing. We are also following up on the story of Mombasa governor, see whether the police will do something and arrest BCI. You have a case there. There is evidence there. We don't know why you have not acted upon it. So we need a society that respects the rule of law. And we cannot continue living like this and seeing that the government of the day is using the police to intimidate voices that don't agree. We are from the dark days of Moi, the dark days of Nyayo Temba. We are in a new dispensation, and we hope that the government of William Ruto will abide by the law and protect the people of Kenya. We elected you, Mr. President, to protect our rights, to protect us as the people. If we don't agree with some of your policies, please listen to us, because in 2027, you will also be asking for our votes. And we will unleash your scorecard. We will tell you the number of people who have been missing. You need to disband that wing of police that is abducting the young people. You need to disband that wing completely, so that you can leave a legacy. These positions are not permanent. The world is moving at a very fast pace. And tomorrow, it will be somebody else seated on that seat. And we will be asking questions. Even the police officers, the DCI, you will not go scot-free. You must go scot-free in this regime. But in the next few years to come, your files will be opened and you will face the law. And that is what democracy entails. Otherwise, guys, thank you very much for being there. Penny Nyagaka, you did disappoint with your wise counsel. See you again today in the evening. Ashley, thank you so much for your views. And I hope that some of your questions we were able to answer. Next time, we'll make sure that Mrs. is in to answer some of those legal questions. Otherwise, Asanteni and good night.
Thank you. Good night.